What's up, guys? Welcome to the Driven Not Given podcast. And in this podcast, we're going to talk about something that was actually asked about when I said I was going to talk about this very often, why nice guys end up last, and how that also applies to business. And it's going to be an interesting one, so let's get into it. Okay, guys, so we're not only doing this topic, this is not even I'm going to have some say in what we're talking about here. But we went to ChatGPT and I've been putting it to the test, right? So I said, let me play with this thing. So I asked it, hey, give me a hypothetical conversation as if Jordan Peterson was having a conversation with Andrew Tate about the subject of why nice guys end up last with women. So this is a hypothetical conversation that ChatGPT generated for us, and it gave us 10 reasons why nice guys end up last, as if it was, again, Jordan Peterson and Andrew Tate having a conversation. So I'm going to go through these 10 reasons. I'm going to go through this conversation and these 10 reasons, and I'm going to also elaborate on some of these. So let's get into it. You're going to see me reading here from my computer. So the AI says that it's going to generate a hypothetical conversation between the two. Please note that this conversation is purely fictional and does not represent the actual views of Jordan Peterson and Andrew Tate. We got that, okay? So it starts off by, as if Jordan Peterson is talking to Andrew Tate, and Jordan says to Tate, Andrew, it seems like there's a prevalent notion that nice guys finish last when it comes to attracting women. What are your thoughts on this? Andrew then replies, Jordan, it's an interesting topic indeed. I believe there are several factors at play that contribute to this phenomenon. Let's explore some of the possible reasons. So, reason number one, a lack of assertiveness. Nice guys often struggle to assert their desires and boundaries, which can lead to a lack of confidence. Women are naturally attracted to individuals who display assertiveness and decisiveness. So that's reason number one. So I'm going to elaborate here, and I wrote down my thoughts on this, my thoughts on this first one, right? So this is exactly true. Nice guys will ask, for example, hey, where would you like to go? So let's say, for example, they're going to go on a date, right? Very often you hear stories and you see it in movies, and even I experienced this when I was a nice guy many years ago. And by the way, let me talk about this. Saying when I was a nice guy doesn't mean that I'm not a nice guy. I'm a nice man. I am a confident man. And it doesn't mean that, oh, the opposite of a nice guy is a jerk. That's not what we're saying. But we all know what we're talking about when we talk about the quote-unquote nice guy, right? The guy that is a pushover, that is, somebody that people walk over, especially women. So anyways, so this type of man, the nice guy in a situation would ask, hey, where would you like to go, right? When it comes to the date. The other guy, the confident man, will say where they're going in a confident way. Or for example, the nice guy is going to hesitate in letting a woman know that he's romantically interested in her. And because of his lack of assertiveness, he comes across as being maybe uninterested or unsure about whether or not he's interested in dating her. And this happens because, I've got a lot of guy friends and stuff, and we talk about this. Matter of fact, I remember there was a time that I was working and my two brothers were working in my office with me, and we hired somebody else, another gentleman, to work with us. And my two brothers and I were not the quote-unquote nice guy, but this guy was a total beta nice guy. So he was telling us about some of his girl problems and stuff, and the three of us would give him advice. And one of the things is, he would say things about, oh yeah, I'm kind of dating this girl, but I don't know how to tell her. And I'm like, how long have you been going on dates with her? He says, well, we've gone on 3 dates. I'm like, does she know that you're romantically interested in her? He says to us, well, I haven't told her, but I'm sure she knows because, I keep asking her on a date. Like, no, man, you got to make it known that you are interested in her, because here's the deal. She's going to think that, oh, you're just not interested in her, or maybe she's going to know that you are interested in her, but you don't have the you-know-what to let her know how you feel, to let her know what your intentions are, and she's not going to respect that. So it's very true. You know what I mean? Lack of assertiveness is a big deal. Now, here's another note on this. A confident man is a lot more willing to fail, a lot more willing to get rejected. They have the attitude of, oh, well, okay, if she doesn't like me, oh, well, right? Because when it comes to these attractive women, yes, they probably have, more men than usual that are talking to him, but the nice guy is afraid of rejection. This other guy understands Rejection is a part of the game, but because they do it more often, they're able to handle the rejection a lot better. So they're a lot more open, right? The nice guy is, again, terrified of rejection. So let's go to reason number 2. Overemphasis on approval. Again, this is one of the reasons that supposedly Jordan Peterson and Andrew Tate have. Overemphasis on approval. Nice guys tend to prioritize gaining approval from others, including women, over their own needs, okay? They can come across as needy and lacking genuine self-assurance, making it harder for women to see them as potential partners, okay? I agree with this. As I mentioned on the prior point, strong men care much less about rejection, therefore their self-assurance is higher and they know their value. It's absolutely true. So we're going to move on to the next one. The next one is failure to take risks. We talked about that earlier. Women appreciate men who are willing to take risks and pursue their ambitions. Nice guys often shy away from stepping outside of their comfort zone, which can make them appear unadventurous and unexciting. Not only do I agree with this, but as I'm reading this, I'm thinking, this AI thing, it's so good, man. It's so true. And if you stop and think about people, maybe yourself, maybe somebody that you know that's one of these quote unquote nice guys. A lot of the things that you're going to see on this video are very, very true. So here are my thoughts on this point number 3. Not only for success with women, but for success in anything. Stepping outside of your comfort zone is very attractive to people. Even people that want to do business with you. Knowing that you're not afraid to take risks. The biggest risk, in my opinion, is not taking a risk in life. See, my philosophy is I'm not going to tippy-toe around life to get safely to the grave. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to take chances. I'm going to take risks. I'm going to get outside of my comfort zone because anybody that's achieved any level of success in business, they understand. Your comfort zone is your broke zone, okay? One of the movies that I encourage people to watch when it comes to this topic is, it was called, I got it right here, matter of fact, Public Enemy No. 1, where Johnny Depp plays the notorious John Dillinger. There's a scene where he's talking to the girl in the red dress, and she asks him, what do you do for a living? And he says, I rob banks. So he's talking to her, and she says, what do you know, she was surprised that he told her that he robs banks, and, you know, we'll put the scene, or part of the scene here. So she's like, why'd you say that to me? That's not a thing that you say to a girl, she says. He says, well, I'm not going to lie to you, you know. And as the conversation keeps going, she asks him, so what are you going to do? Or something along those lines. And he says, anything I want. You know, I'm going to travel the world. Want to come with me? And she says, boy, you are in a hurry. And he says to her with a very confident tone of voice and looking her in the eyes, and he says, if you were looking at what I'm looking at, you'd be in a hurry too. See, a nice guy doesn't say stuff like that. Now, granted, the guy that's a confident man also says that because he's been in situations like that before as well. So he's more comfortable in situations, but that is, you could get rejected by saying such a thing, right? There's another scene where, because she told him that she works, you know, as the coat person at a club. So he showed up the next day there because in the prior meeting she left because he was talking to some people too long and she just left, right? So he shows up and he tells her, hey, you walked out on me. You know, don't ever do that again. And it sounds worse the way that I say, you got to watch the clip. But the point is, there are some movies where we can take, and I remember in the 12th grade, I looked at some of these movies. Another movie that impacted me was What Women Want with Mel Gibson. But right now we're talking about this particular movie. Watch the demeanor of some of these alpha men, how they handle, how they carry themselves, how they're not trying to overcompensate, how they're direct about what they want. That is very true. Same thing in business. Be direct about what you want. I'll let my customer know, Mr. Customer, what do we have to do today to earn your business? Is there something that we haven't covered that you have questions with? But I'm not beating around the bush. I remember I had a customer one time say, man, you're just looking to make a sale. And I said, well, Mr. Customer, I am a salesperson and I am looking to make a sale, but I don't want to make that sale if it doesn't benefit you. So yes, I absolutely am here to make a sale because if not, it'd be a waste of time. But again, I don't want to make that sale unless it benefits both parties. Now, if you would have took the rookie JC version, I would have stumbled all over my words there. right? I would say, oh, snap, how do you handle this? But of course, a customer knows that I'm there to make a sale. I am a salesperson. They knew that I was getting into that meeting as a salesperson, and they have some level of interest. If not, they wouldn't be there in the first place, right? But my point is that you've got to be willing to get outside of your comfort zone and then get comfortable outside of your comfort zone. But here's the deal. The nice guy is never going to be comfortable outside of his comfort zone because he's never willing to get there. He's terrified by getting there. And that is also why, as we mentioned, they don't really express how they really feel. They beat around the bush. So let's go to reason number 4. Inauthentic behavior, okay? So some nice guys may adopt a facade, pretending to be what they believe women want rather than being themselves. This lack of authenticity is easily detected and can undermine trust and genuine connections. Yes. You have to understand, right? Women, since the age of 12 or 13, have been getting hit on by men for a long time, and men with more experience, right? When a girl turns to a teenager, she's got the 16, the 17-year-olds, maybe even 18-year-olds hitting on her. Women are used to seeing this, and they have a lot more, in Spanish we say colmillo, like street smart, so to speak, right? They understand. So when a nice guy's putting on a facade, and I see, for example, I was on Facebook like a year ago, and this dude, nice guy. He's a nice guy in general, but he's also, you can tell, he's a nice guy when it comes to women. Women in his life look at him as the nice guy, which is the friend, the guy that ends up in the friend zone, doesn't end up in the end zone. You understand what I'm saying? So this guy makes a post, and you could read by the way they talk that this person is a nice dude and ends up last with women. So for example, he says, why do men not respect women more and love women more for who they are rather than trying to sleep with them? Which, here's the deal. I agree. I'm a Christian man. I'm not over here saying, oh, you should want to go out there and sleep with a bunch of women and all that stuff. You do your life. I do my life. You do your life. I have one woman that I sleep with and only sleep with, right? But my point is this. This guy, because I know him, if he had the opportunity to be with different women, you know, every month, he'd take the opportunity. But when he made that post, again, I know this guy. He's making the post trying to get the approval of women. And then women go on there and say, yes, you're right. And there's a lot of co-signing. But yet none of those women are interested in this dude romantically. Why? Because the man that they're interested in, now, that's a broad stroke. Am I saying that all women are like that? No. But I am saying that most women are like that. They want a man that's assertive. They want a man that's assertive, right? For example, there's a movie that I watched, I don't remember the name, but I remember this scene, it caught on to me, which is about the same subject. This man takes his woman to a nice dinner, and he's smooth, and he's sharp, and he's confident, and they had a nice dinner, and long story short, the woman was impressed, right? And they're walking after the restaurant, they're having a nice romantic walk on this scene. And the woman says to him, you don't think you know, that's a very nice restaurant. You don't think you're going to get some tonight, do you? And he says, well, eventually, yeah. I think eventually, me being nice to you and us continuing to go out, eventually it'll lead to that, sure. And they both chuckle and laugh and whatever, but the way he says it, the nice guy, what would the nice guy say? What? No, I mean, come on. I just want you to have a good time. Wrong. Friend zone. Because a woman wants a man that's assertive. She knows what you want, dude. In business, your customers know what you want. You're a salesperson. You're there to make a sale. Are you looking to make a sale? Well, yeah, Mr. Customer, I am looking to make a sale, sure. Only if it benefits you and it benefits me. If it's a good situation for both parties, I absolutely want to make a sale here today. And that's what dating is selling. But you got to have a backbone. When in business, in sales, and in dating, you got to have a backbone. And guess what? The nice guy doesn't have a backbone. So here's the deal, though. Before I move on to the next one, this reminds me of a story as we're talking about this. Weak sense of individuality. Nice guys tend to overly accommodate for others, neglecting their own needs and desires. So here's the deal. I'll give you a personal story. I remember one time I was, long time ago before my wife, I was dating, right? So there's this girl that I was dating that I found her attractive and, she was cool and she found me attractive and cool too. So on a Friday night, I didn't hang out with her. I hung out with my friends and she says, oh, I really wanted us to hang out. I was like, I already have plans with my friends, but I'd be happy for us to hang out tomorrow. She says, okay, that's fine. So like at 11 p.m., she asked me if I was interested in going with her and her friends on like this boat. Apparently one of the friends' boyfriend owned his own boat and they were gonna go on this boat in Long Beach, California. And it was gonna be a good time. They're gonna have a barbecue. They're gonna jump into the ocean. It's gonna be a good old time. I said, I'd love to. What time are you going? She says to me, in the morning, like at 10, 11-ish. I said, oh, you know what? If it's a little bit later, I can, but I can't at that time. I have an appointment with my friend Matthew at the gym, the Muay Thai gym, and it's Saturday mornings, it's sparring day. And I was very serious about Muay Thai back then. Saturday mornings, I was at the gym, I was sparring. Plus I told my buddy Matthew, we're gonna meet up at the gym and we're gonna spar, and I wanted to get it in. It's a passion of mine, especially then. Even now, I spar, not as much as then, but my point is, I'm not gonna miss it. I am absolutely committed to this sport. Now, I wasn't a fighter or anything like that, but it's something that I did for leisure time, and at the time, I was considering going back to fighting. Long story short, I said, I can't, I gotta be at the gym at 9 a.m., right? Possibly, I could go right from the gym and make it at 11, but it's cutting it a little bit tight, to be honest with you. And I says to her, however, if we can't meet, I'd be happy for us to meet afterwards. I'm free the rest of the day, but I can't miss. So she was the kind of person, because she was an attractive girl, that she kind of got what she wanted. This was foreign to her. The night before, I already had plans, couldn't hang out. The next day, but here's the deal though. How are you gonna tell me at 11 p.m. to be available the next morning, 11 hours later? Like, that's not really realistic, right? But what will a nice guy do? A nice guy will bend, a nice guy will say, you know what? And he thinks he's doing the right thing. You know what? I'll just go ahead and cancel it for you. And in some cases, don't get me wrong, in some cases, like for my wife, it's a different story for my wife. I will cancel more stuff. That's my wife now. But here's one thing that happens. If as a man, you continuously cancel things and you continuously are super overly available, you're not an attractive man. You've got to show that you've got other things, that your world doesn't revolve around this individual. You've got your own world, your own priorities, your own interests that you value and respect. And a nice guy doesn't value and respect himself like that. So that's a personal story that I think relates to that. Reason number six, inability to create sexual tension. Nice guys often avoid displaying their sexual desires and intentions, fearing that they may come across as disrespectful or aggressive. However, a healthy level of sexual tension is crucial for building romantic relationships. Yes, I talked about the story earlier about that movie, right? Where the guy took the girl to a nice dinner, she said, you don't think you're gonna get something? He says, well, eventually, yeah, that's the idea, right? Yes, it's true. I remember I'm having a conversation years ago with a friend of mine, and a female friend, and she was talking about some guy that she was dating, and she was complaining about how he wasn't assertive enough. She was saying, I know that he likes me, I know that he's attracted to me, but he doesn't pull the trigger. He doesn't. I'm like, well, tell him that. I don't know the guy. If not, I will tell the guy, look, she's interested, bro. You got to stop being scared, and you got to be more assertive. You got to take that, you got to take it to another level, right? Just be more assertive, dude, right? Don't be the nice guy that's afraid of rejection or, afraid to be disrespectful. No, of course, always respect the other person's boundaries, right? I'm not saying to not respect the boundaries, but a lot of times a nice guy doesn't realize that the boundary's over here, but you're like right here. You just need to get here. The boundary's way over there. But the nice guy thinks that the boundary is like right here when it's really way over here. Does that make sense? So yes, I totally agree with that. Let's go with number 7. Failure to set boundaries, okay? Nice guys often struggle with setting and enforcing boundaries in their relationships. This can lead to being taken advantage of or being seen as someone who lacks confidence and self-respect. 100%. Same story with what I just mentioned about the, boat party. But I'll tell you another story about this boundary. Like 2 weeks ago, somebody that I love dearly tells me this story about a family member. So I'm not going to mention the names of who it is, because if they watch this video, they'll figure out who it is. But somebody I love dearly tells me a story about one of their family members. And I could tell, I've met this guy years ago, and I see him every couple of months. Super nice guy to everybody, not just to women, to everybody. To the point where even other people, men, take advantage of him. He's a guy that if he goes out with people, he wants to pay, right? But, like, you don't have to pay, man. Let them pay, right? It isn't like they're just buddies from, growing up. But with women, he has a problem. So they tell me a story how he's dating this girl, but she never really gives him his place. They're not really dating, she just basically uses him to go out to dinner. And when she wants to go have a nice dinner, she hits this dude up. This guy is always available. That's another trait of a nice guy. Picks her up, takes her to a nice dinner, of course, always covers the bill, which he should. You take out a woman to dinner, you cover the bill. You don't go Dutch, you cover the bill. So in that sense, he should. But he is romantically interested in her, and he's not reading between the lines, or he's denying what he reads between the lines, that she's not interested in him. She's not interested in him. Because every time you take her out to dinner, he don't even get a kiss. Not even a kiss. She's just using you as a nice guy for a nice dinner, because there was no other options available. Nobody else was available to take her to dinner, so you're the last resort. And let me tell you something, man. My wife has told me stories like this about how some of her friends back in the days would literally tell her, yeah, I'm going out with so-and-so. But it's just to go for a nice dinner. And the woman is literally not interested in that dude. That's a nice guy. That is a dude that is in the friend zone. That dude needs to have boundaries. Say, like, there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, you know what? I'm not available for dinner. Frankly, I don't think that you're interested in me, and I think it's a waste of time for us to go, because, we just go to dinner or whatnot, and yeah, there may be an attraction from me to you, but I don't think there is from you to me. So, no problem. I'm not interested in going to dinner with you. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You're being respectful, but these nice guys, they don't know how to stand their ground. Dude, think about this. If you are a man that finds yourself in this situation, you're already in a situation where you're not even in first base. You're not even in first base. You're in no base. And you've never gotten out of that base. And you're not going to get out of that base, and you know it. It's much better to be upfront and open about it, right? And you might have a shot like that because they know that they're not going to take advantage of you anymore. So that's a story that that really, when I saw this here, it's a story that when this person that I care about told me about this gentleman, I was like, yeah, I don't know much about his dating life, but I'm not surprised at all. Because I could tell that this is the kind of guy, some people will call this a beta male. The nice guy is a beta male. Then you got the alpha male, the guy that takes what he wants, the guy that's assertive about what he wants, right? So anyways, let's go to the next one. Number 8, overemphasis on friendship. Nice guys often approach relationships from a friendship first perspective, hoping that romantic feelings will develop naturally. However, this can result in being perceived as a non-romantic and more like a brother or a friend. Yes. Now, am I saying, do I fully agree with this one? Personally, no. I do believe that a lot of great relationships can and do start off as friendships, 100%. Especially if it's that alpha man that we're talking about. He can be friends with somebody and eventually say, hey, I've developed more feelings for you. I've literally said to a girl one time that was a friend of mine, you know what? I would like to take you out, but not as friends. I'm interested in pursuing more with you. You open to that? Straight up. What's the worst that could have happened? It could have been like, no, I see you as a friend. But being that I'm not that nice guy, I'm not going to be, you have to have like a rhino, 3-inch skin. Worst case scenario, this one would have said, no, JC, you know what? I see you as a friend and only as a friend. Hey, you know what? I respect that. It's no big deal. I get it. I had a feeling that, you might say this. I knew there was a possibility, rather, that you might say this. But I want to let you know. And guess what? Now, as the nice guy or the guy that got rejected, you now have a place to go. To say, okay, great. I let her know how I feel. She let me know how she feels. And here's what happens, though. When I said that to that girl, she was open to it. But in high school, I was the nice guy with her. So she was dating some dude that I remember thinking, because I was that nice guy in high school. And I remember she was dating some dude in high school that was a year younger than her and a year younger than me. And I was her age. I was taller than this other dude. In my opinion, better looking than this other dude. But she liked that dude, but she didn't like me. And I'm thinking, what the hell does she see in this guy? This guy's a freaking jerk. Well, here's the problem. That guy had a nonchalant, didn't care approach. And she respected that a lot more. He had his own opinion. I didn't. I was like, yes, I'll carry your books. Yes, I'll do this, I'll do that. And I was like a little puppy dog. That was me. A long time I was like a little puppy dog. I was always available. Here was a school. I lived like 4 or 5 miles this way. She lived like 2 miles this way. I would walk her to school. Then I'd walk myself back home, right? That was me. Then I started studying. I ended up moving in with some friends who were older and who, you know, were more successful with the ladies, right? So in doing that, I started to learn some of these things. So one of the things I started doing is I started putting more emphasis on working out, hanging out with these guys, learning from these guys, and I realized I'm not going to be that nice guy anymore. So we meet up a couple years later and things are completely different. Why? Because I knew if she's not interested in me, I don't care, no big deal. There's plenty of fish in the sea. I like her. I respect her as a friend. It is what it is. Long story short, the roles reversed. Years later, she wanted to go out with me and it just wasn't the right fit, right? Anyways, let's go to the next one. Number 9, lack of personal ambition. Women are often attracted to men who are driven and passionate about their goals and aspirations. Nice guys who lack ambition may be seen as lacking direction and not inspiring enough to be romantic partners. 100%. A man who is going somewhere is attractive, period. You've got to have goals. You've got to have ambitions. You've got to have plans. That's just in general. In business, if you know where you're going and people perceive you to be driven and knowing where you're going, that automatically is attractive, not only with the opposite sex, but with business as well, right? As a leader, people follow a leader who knows where he's going, where he or she is going, who is assertive, who says about where they're going, who takes action, who is driven, who's got plans, who doesn't have idle time. Absolutely, I agree with that one. Let's go with the last one. Failure to communicate desires and expectations. Nice guys sometimes struggle to clearly communicate their romantic intentions and desires. We've talked about this, leading to confusion and misunderstandings. Effective communication is key to building meaningful relationships. Yes. I remember being in situations where I let a girl know, hey, I want to pursue this more on a romantic level. Those weren't necessarily my words, but you get what I'm saying. And the girl kind of pumped the brakes on me. I said, okay, no problem. What did I do? Did I continue to spend time with her like I used to before? No. I moved on to the next one, kind of like in sales. A lot of you guys are in sales. Guess what? In sales, you got to move on to the next one, right? Same thing with dating, right? If you're a single guy and you're dating, in the beginning, you don't have a girlfriend, you're meeting different people, right? And some are going to be interested, some are not going to be interested, and guess what? You move on. You know, to touch one last story on this, failure to communicate desires and expectations. I remember on our first date, funny, it reminds me because yesterday, my wife pulled out the dress, the same dress, somewhere lost in her closet that she wore on our very first date. Still fits her, which is pretty damn cool because that was in 2013. We're in 2023. It's 10 years ago, right? I remember on our first date saying to her, and we always talk about this. Check this out. I'm going to give you a story that kind of ties a lot of these things together, right? So I pick her up and I have no idea where we're going. She says, where are we going? I said, we'll figure it out. Don't worry. We're going to have a good time. And I'm driving. I remember I was driving a black SL 500, hardtop convertible, red interior, right? And, you know, we're going to have a good time. She's looking great in a yellow dress that she was wearing. She was looking beautiful as always. And so we're driving and we go to downtown Los Angeles to where the Lakers play. The LA, what is that place called, Jay? The LA, where the Lakers play?
That's the crypto arena now.
Yeah, the crypto arena. So right around there. So as we're going through there, I figured there's a lot of bars, there's restaurants. I'm going to figure out there's bowling, there's a club, and it's downtown LA. Shit, we're going to find something to do. So as we're walking, we go and we go in there. LA Live is called. So we're walking through LA Live, and she's like, so where are we going? Like, it's right over here. So I know that I'm gonna find somewhere to go because I was so busy. I just knew I had a date with her, so I made sure that I made it on time to her house to pick her up, and I had no idea where we were going. But I knew I'm gonna figure this thing out because I'm me. And that's not a cocky thing to say. That is, you gotta bet on yourself. You gotta believe in yourself that you're the guy, that you're the girl, that you're gonna figure things out. It's you. You're the dude, or you're the girl. And more than likely, it's men watching this, right? You're gonna figure this out. So we go and we get off, and we're walking. And then another couple starts walking in the same direction. They're parallel to us. And they ask, I think the man asked, are you guys going to the private party upstairs too? Because they were dressed nice, we were dressed nice. I said, and Jennifer looks at me, and I look at the guy and I say, as a matter of fact, we are. We'll follow you. Oh, cool. So we follow them up the stairs to this private event. They go in, and we're talking, so the security guards know them, and we're with them, so we just walked right in to this party. It's a big old party, there's a bar, and Jennifer's impressed, like, oh my God, right? Like, this is pretty cool. She said, is this really where we're going? I said, no, this ain't where we're going. But when they asked about a private party, guess what? We're going to that private party. And if we wouldn't have made it to that private party, guess what? We're going to figure out one way to either get in there or we're going to have a great time somewhere else. It doesn't matter what we're doing because it's you and I spending time together is what's going to equal the good time. So we go in there. So we're having some drinks and we're dancing and stuff. And I remember telling her on our very first date, mind you, very first date. My wife is now 33. She was 23 at the time and I was about 30. I'm 7 years older, so I'm now 40. I remember saying to her as we're dancing, I said, by the way, you know what? She says, what? I said, you and I, we'd make some pretty babies. This is a first date. Why? Because I wanted her to know day one, I am interested in you to this degree. Not necessarily to having babies and getting married, right? I didn't know that. You know, this is our first date. But I wanted her to know, like, she's a beautiful woman. I'm a good looking dude. We would indeed make some pretty babies. What am I also doing? I'm planting a seed, right? I'm planting a seed that, hey, I'm in business, right? You know what she did? Because I said it with confidence. I said it with a bass to my tone of voice. She agreed. She says, yeah, we would. As soon as she said that, I said, boom, it's a done deal. It's a done deal, bro. 10 years later, we got 2 beautiful kids. And I was right. We make some beautiful babies. The deal is that nice guys end up last. Don't be the nice guy. And anybody can switch their identity of who they are. I know plenty of guys, including myself, that used to be that quote-unquote nice guy that are not the nice guy. Doesn't mean that you're not nice and respectful to women. You should always be nice and respectful to women. The problem is that nice guys are overly respectful to women and disrespect themselves. Put themselves last. Let people walk all over them. Not only women, but other people. You got to set the boundaries. You got to know, hey, no, listen, I know what I bring to the table. Yeah, you may be a beautiful girl and all that stuff, but guess what? I know what I bring to the table. And if that's not good enough, that's okay. You got to set the rules. You've got to set boundaries. You can't put yourself last. You've got to have hobbies that surround, hobbies and interests that don't revolve around that other person, right? That is very, very important. And the same thing applies for women as well. So anyways, the conversation with ChatGPT and Jordan Peterson and Andrew Tate ends like this. Jordan Peterson says, these are certainly thought-provoking points, Andrew. It seems that a combination of factors such as assertiveness, authenticity, and the ability to set boundaries can greatly influence a man's success in romantic endeavors. It is essential for individuals to strike a balance between kindness and self-assuredness to cultivate healthy relationships. I agree. And unfortunately, there's a lot more nice guys than there is the opposite. And a lot of times, a lot of these nice guys, maybe they weren't around these male figures that taught them that. You know, the story that I mentioned about a friend that worked with my brothers and I, he was raised by mainly women in his family. He had a father figure, but didn't have any older brothers that really taught him a lot of these things. And that's why but I'll tell you what, like 3 to 6 months after him working with us, he was like, not completely different, but a lot different, a lot better to where he was actually getting dates and going out consistently and just having a much better time. And he realized and he told us, man, you guys the advice that you guys gave me is totally, absolutely true, right? But if you hang out with a bunch of beta males, guess what? You're probably going to be a beta male as well. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Driven Not Given podcast. Here's what I would like for you guys to do. Share this with people that could use this information, right? It's not only for dating, but for business as well. Share it with a couple people that might like this information. Give me some of your thoughts in the comments of some of the things that you think that I left out or something that I got wrong, whatever the case may be. I go through the comments, I read the comments. And with that being said, I'll see you guys at the top or from the top. Take care.